Welcome back to DR Sports Transfers. Yes, people, it's that time of the year. It's silly season where us presenters at DR Sports are on pretty much, well, we will be every single day covering every single bit of transfer news that happens in the Premier League, all around Europe and the world. All the big stories, we will have them covered. Make sure you like, comment and subscribe to the channel. Get us to 300k, will you, before the Champions League final, which, by the way, is going to be an absolute occasion next Saturday at Box Park Croydon. Make sure you're there to join the crew and watching it. We've also got the FA Cup final tomorrow on DR Sports as well. Manchester United versus Man City. Speaking of Man City, let's talk about how they still are looking for Mateo Kovačić to come through the door. Only 29. I thought he was a little bit older than that, but clearly a very good player. One of maybe the shining lights of this Chelsea team in the last 2 or 3 years, I'm saying. Been told that the agreement on the personal terms is really close and it's almost completed. And of course, then they've got to discuss the fee. But he will leave. So Chelsea fans in the comments right now, how are you feeling knowing that Mason Mount is definitely going, as we presume, to Manchester United now? And also another Manchester team in City are looking to take your part-time captain. He was given the armband a few times in his time at Chelsea, so he's gone. Chelsea fans, how do you feel about that? And speaking of Chelsea, no discussions have taken place in the month of May for Romelu Lukaku between Chelsea and Inter, despite some early reports in the month. But we understand it's Lukaku's priority to remain in Milan and stay into next season, and it's now up to the two clubs, but there will be no decision before the Champions League final that he plays in, fresh from potentially dating Megan Thee Stallion, if you're into music, at Lautaro Martinez's wedding, no less. But there you go. How are you feeling about that one? Massive game for him. If he wins the Champions League with Inter, why would you want to leave? So I can understand his thinking there. Chelsea potentially happy to get him off the wage bill as well, considering that monster contract that he's got. We're also hearing in France that Will Still has remained as Reims manager until 2025. The 30-year-old and his younger brother Nicolas Still will also serve as the assistant manager, keeping it in the family. Could get awkward if they get sacked around Christmas time, but what a job he's done. Surely at some point soon you'd expect them to get the dough out and pay for his license, because I still don't think he has one, and I'm tired of seeing that tweet every week in Twitter for next season. So and his brother, get his brother a license as well. 30 years old. Incredible, really, when you think about it. Lionel Messi, where will he be next season? We saw this yesterday from the PSG manager, Christophe Galtier. He confirmed that Leo Messi will leave PSG at the end of the season. So Parisian Londoner, all the PSG fans as well, how are you feeling about this one? And where is he going to end up next season? Xavi, very open about trying to bring him back to the club. He's mentioned so many times that Leo will always have a place for Los Culés, but PSG manager says this: I had the privilege of coaching the best player in the history of football. It will be Leo's last match at the Parc des Princes against Clermont as well. So I'm saying Barcelona, but is there a way that he ends up at Inter Miami? Is there a way he goes to the Saudis as well? Let us know in the comments. We've also heard as well, going back to Chelsea, Dennis Zakaria will be leaving after apparently Pochettino told the club not to trigger his buy option clause, so Zakaria will turn back to Juventus. Not a very successful spell at all for him at Chelsea. Talking of the Spanish league as well, Yannick Carrasco, will he end up at Barcelona? Diego Simeone, his current manager at Atleti, has said Barca is a great opportunity for him. I want the good players to stay, but if they leave, I thank them for everything. And Barcelona have an option close to 20 million to sign Yannick. Speaking of Barcelona as well, we heard after only 9 minutes of action on the pitch for Aubameyang at Barcelona, he will receive a La Liga winners medal. We also know that they're linked still with bringing Aubameyang back and Firmino. How will that strike partnership potentially with Messi as well look next season? Potentially Carrasco as well. Barca fans, how are you feeling about that potential reunion next season for Leo at Barca, and maybe a swan song as well? As we know, 3 hours ago, Leeds have also parted ways with Sam Allardyce. He will not be staying on as coach. He, in his podcast, No Tippy Tappy Football, and William Hill yesterday said he was going to have the chat. But it seems like the chat has not lasted long or been positive for him or the club. Mutually agreed for Allardyce's time at the club has come to an end after his 4-game spell, which saw United relegated from the Premier League as well. Staying on Real Madrid quickly as well, another team in white, but a very successful team, as we know. Karim Benzema not really guaranteeing that he will be leaving. He's saying the reality is not the internet, and we have to wait to see what obviously he says about that. We're also hearing as well that Newcastle are closing in on another top talent for the future. 2004 born winger Yankuba Minte is set to join the Magpies on a permanent deal from Odense, work permit pending, 7 million apparently, tricky winger. They were already exploring options to loan him out as soon as they buy him, so that's definitely one for the future. Medical is booked, just waiting on the work permit to be resolved, then Newcastle will complete the deal. Smart business from Newcastle. When I hear of someone that has been bought by Newcastle that was born in 2004, I mean, I was literally 10 then. Makes me feel extremely old. So thanks for that, the Magpies. As we know, the transfer of Jude Bellingham to Real Madrid will take place in the next week or so. Rumours as well, wasn't there the other day, that he could potentially have knee surgery at only 19 years old, which is never a good sign, obviously, but we hope that that isn't the case for him. Tottenham as well, we know that they are desperately looking for a manager. The time is ticking on now. Ryan Mason's thrown his hat in the ring, but I don't think that hat will stay in the ring when you consider some of the names that they're talking to. We're hearing again going back in for second round talks with Luis Enrique, and they've scheduled a new round of talks with Ange Postecoglou at the beginning of next week. He remains the leading candidate. So Tottenham fans, as well as players leaving, come in Tottenham. We're talking about a new manager as well. Nothing has been agreed yet, but they are in talks with him as well. Celtic fans, how does that make you feel as well, by the way? This is a man who has had such a massive season for Celtic up in Scotland, and maybe he deserves a bit more time there. Maybe he's trying to cast the net a bit wider and go to England and try and manage there. So Tottenham, would that be a good opportunity for him? Let us know right now in the comments. Also, João Félix, as we know, was at Chelsea since January, and again, Fabrizio Romano saying that he could potentially go to Barcelona as well. Zlatan Ibrahimović says he is not thinking of retiring at the end of the season, but I have to find a good balance. Monza told me that they have the contract ready for me, but I'm a Milan player and I'm proud of that. So will he stay or will he go away from Milan? Again, going back to what Xavi has been talking about earlier, obviously a massive fan of getting Leo Messi back. However, Raphinha is not on the market. He is staying at Barcelona and he's going to help us a lot. He's a very crucial player for El Gules, but really very important player. He makes the difference, he tells Mundo Deportivo. As we know, Arsenal, not Russian or Dutch. Arsenal official bid for Declan Rice will now come after Wednesday night's Europa Conference League final. The plan is very clear, and Declan Rice, has he or will he be playing his last game for West Ham on that Wednesday night out in Prague? Sorry, it's Budapest, isn't it? The final there. So he'll want to go out on such a high if it is his last game. He'll obviously lead the team out. He could be the man, the face, to lift the trophy for the first time in God knows how many years. He has the potential, in my opinion, in terms of fame and notoriety at the legendary status at West Ham. If he wins this Europa Conference League, I think he goes down with the Bobby Moores in terms of the faces, the Mount Rushmores of West Ham, who have brought success back to East London. And I think if he does win that game, which I hope he does for him, and I want West Ham to beat Fiorentina as well. Shout out Nicky and the West Ham Fan TV boys. But I'd love to see it. And then if he does go to Arsenal, I don't think any West Ham would ever tell you that they would be angry at him or they'd boo him or anything like that. Legendary status if he does win that. And even if he doesn't, I think he's still got that as well. Right, that is your roundup. A couple more bits for you. Again, Xavi giving it all this, talking quite a lot. João Cancelo did not come to Barca in January simply because City did not want him to go to Barca. They didn't tell me any reason, simply that it couldn't be done because City had said to Barca there is no option. We're also hearing Mason Mount, we know, keen to join Manchester United. No issues on personal terms, but the deal not advanced yet. There's still a big gap between clubs. Chelsea keep asking for at least 80 mil, and the deal is not imminent at this stage, but it seems like he could end up there, as I've said earlier. Any more bits and bobs? Yes, there is. Nottingham Forest have been busy today. They've triggered a 1-year extension for Serge Aurier. You can presume that he had that in his contract. If the team stay up, he gets a new deal. So good for him. Also, Jesse Lingard, now a free agent. Is there any way that he gets another Premier League team? Does he look beyond Europe? Does he look even into the Saudi and the Middle East leagues as well, where he could maybe rejoin his old teammate Cristiano Ronaldo at Al Nassr? There's obviously the Al Rayyans. There's some big teams coming up there in Qatar and Saudi as well. So can he maybe find a move out there to keep his current wage, as what he would want? So I don't think he necessarily gets that in this country anymore. However, for him, new opportunity to go and have a new adventure in football. So let us know where you think Jesse Lingard ends up. Free agent, no club for him at the minute. Adrian as well has signed a new deal for Liverpool. He will be part of Klopp's thinking in this summer and beyond. He obviously could play in the Europa League if Kelleher isn't playing, but Liverpool fans, are you happy with that, or did you want a fresh goalkeeper as well? As we know, Liverpool also in for Kone, Thuram and McAllister and Mickey van der Ven as well, the Wolfsburg defender. But there you go, that is your update here on DR Sports. That is myself, AGT, here giving you the transfer update that you need in your life. Don't forget, join Fuad, Abby, Matisse, Robbie himself and all the rest of us throughout the summer, where we'll be covering all of the transfer news, the big stuff, the smaller stuff, and everything in between. So make sure you're liking the video, commenting with your thoughts on the news today, and of course subscribe to DR Sports if you have not already. Loads of great content coming up, as I've said already, so make sure you keep an eye out for it all, and the live events too. And I believe there's a DR Sports versus AFTV All-Stars game, so make sure you're watching out for that one as well. But until then, take care, all the best, and we'll see you soon.